Welcome to the show. I'm JJ Flizanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today's show has appeared on the new podcast, the Coronavirus Support Series, which is led by Dr. Z, who was on last week's show. And we recorded these back to back. And as I listened to it, I thought this was too important not to share it with you. And so I will give a plug to Dr. Z and the Coronavirus Support Series podcast, which if you like today's content and you want more up-to-date first responder type content, please go and check out his show. I will have the link in the show notes as well. This will probably be one of the last shows that I specifically link to what's going on right now in the world. And the reason is because the lessons are the same. A lot of the things that we've learned over the course of time, the lessons and shows I've shared here from, again, Dying to Be Me with Anita Moorjani and Beliefs Can Heal Us with Dr. Eben Alexander and Mind to Matter with Dawson Church. I mean, just right there, those 3 episodes right there are ways to process what's going on right now and to evaluate what it is you really believe. The reason I do the shows that I do is because when times get tough, these are when you dig down and use these tools. You use this belief system. You reevaluate what it is you really believe, and then you live it. And the next show that's going to be coming up next week is with Gay Hendricks. Gay Hendricks wrote a bunch of books, but the most powerful one for me has been The Big Leap. And we did a whole series, episode 9, 10, 11, and 12 in the Inner Circle membership on The Big Leap. We went through section by section and really worked through all of the points to uncover, both for Doug and I, as well as our community, how people upper limit themselves and stop themselves from expanding into a new level of success, love, and abundance. And right now, with what's going on, we are constantly being upper limited by worry. And so next week, we're going to dive into what the big leap is, how you upper limit yourself, and how to do something about it. If you'd like to get ahead of the game, there are 2 things you could do. You could get the big leap and read it or listen to it on audio, or you can join the Inner Circle membership, which is $9.99 a month, and skip right to podcast episode 9, 10, 11, and 12 to wet your whistle, so to speak, and get prepared and take the challenge right now and see where you can expand a little bit further out into trust, into belief, into love, success, and abundance, even with what is going on. That's my wish for you right now, is to take whatever is going on and see if you can grow yourself. See if you can expand yourself. Allow in more love, success, and abundance, even at what is seemingly one of the worst times a lot of people have gone through. Because Viktor Frankl wrote the book, A Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl was a prisoner of a concentration camp, survived it, and came out the other side to write a book about a man's search for meaning. He had decided that in his time in the concentration camp, while he was being beaten and was being threatened to be killed many times, that while his physical environment he had no control over, he vowed he would never give control over of his mind. And so A Man's Search for Meaning is his journey in uncovering the power that we still have even when circumstances look like they're completely out of our control. You always have the power of your mind, your thoughts, your focus, your interpretation, your point of attraction, and therefore your feelings. So today's show and today's intro is just to remind you of that, even though you may not believe it. I want to give you your power back and let you know that life is always working for you. You can go back into the archives of Fit to Love or into the Fit to Love podcast with Lynn Forrest. We did 4 shows with Lynn, and it was all around the victim triangle and how her reality formula is about that life is always working for us. There's only 2 choices. The choice is life is against you or life is for you. The choice is you're in fear or you're in love. The choice is you either trust or you don't. And this is a great time to evaluate where you sit, where your beliefs are, where your habits and practices are, and to do something about it. Sending you lots of love. I hope you enjoyed today's show.
Well, hey everyone, Dr. Eric ZIELINSKI here, and I have a wonderful special guest for you, JJ Flizanes. JJ, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Welcome. Thank you.
Well, thanks for doing this. It's kind of fun because JJ just interviewed me for her podcast yesterday. And I'm like, hey, I got this like online first responder initiative, the coronavirus support series that we just want to give people the tips that they need right now. Today is March 19th. And she's like, let's do it. So thank you. I mean, for making yourself available. This is going to be a service to a lot of people. And folks, if you don't know JJ, she is an empowerment strategist, the host of several podcasts, including People's Choice Awards nominees, Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. She's the director of Invisible Fitness and a best-selling author of Fit to Love, How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life, and the Invisible Fitness Formula, 5 Secrets to Release Weight and End Body Shame. Named Best Personal Trainer in LA for 2007 by Elite Traveler magazine, JJ has been featured in many national magazines, including Shape, Fitness, and Women's Health, as well as national TV appearances, Fox, CBS, NBC, and all the above. You can grab a free copy of her Invisible Fitness Formula at jjflizanes.com/book. And here's a cool thing that she's doing. She's actually giving away a free, quick strategy coaching call for people. And the topic of today's talk is taking your business online and how to do new things. So write down this website, jjflizanes.com. And that's jjflizanes.com/biz coaching, BIZCOACHING. Again, we'll have all the show notes and everything on the website. You can go to coronavirussupportseries.com. Well, before we start talking about business stuff, this is really practical. I mean, you're super fit, best personal trainer in LA. What are you doing right now to stay fit at home when you can't go to the gym?
Well, back in 2009 was when I actually transitioned my personal training business online and started training people all over the country and out of the country, actually, because of a need to serve people and I'm a specialist in biomechanics, as well as many other sciences within the personal training field, physiology. Most trainers don't understand physiology or biomechanics. And then we have the biochemistry piece. And so I always thought that the limitation was I had to be with people in person to watch their form. And when I started doing things online, I noticed that I could see everything I can see with the person that I'm with. I just can't touch you, but I could instruct you the same. I could show you and demonstrate just the same. I could point to where the muscles were, and I could do everything the same. And so I've been working out at home because I'm my own client in a way. You know, if I have to get in the car and drive to the gym, park, get out, go figure it out, stand in line for something, wipe it down, it's just too many steps that are a barrier for me working out. So what I've been doing at home, which is what I normally do at home, although I do have a gym membership, and my partner and I do go and we work out together because it is a nice break when you do work at home, but it isn't necessary. So depending on what it is that your needs are, I mean, right now, getting out and just going for some cardiovascular exercise, either at the beach or walking. I mean, the simplest thing, walk outside the door and take a walk. Yeah. And that would be like the first thing that we can do. But then everywhere in the house, from the stairs to the weights, to the ball, to the mat, to the tubing that I have, I can work any part of my body out that I need to and that I want to. In fact, we've been doing so much cardio that I thought it's time to do some strength training for my hamstrings to stretch out my hip flexors. So, and do some more core work, but we'll be getting to that. So I always schedule my exercise as an appointment, and it is an appointment with me and an appointment with my partner at the gym or at home, no matter where it is. And, you know, I just really think it gives people freedom to recognize that. And I actually, in lieu of like our conversation yesterday and thinking about today's interview, I actually just posted, I thought, you know, I have over 200 videos on exercise and cooking at home and easy paleo, gluten, dairy-free cooking. And I thought, you know, most people don't remember that about me. So I'm like, hey, you can't go to the gym, watch one of the exercises that you can do at home. It's simple, and now's the time to try something new in all areas of life. So I'm doing a lot to stay healthy.
Where can people find that?
jjflizanes.tv.
Do it, folks. This is wonderful. I mean, so how about really practical? You mentioned outside. I mean, some people right now are really afraid to leave the home, and I recognize that. I'll validate that. A girlfriend of ours was just hiking in the trails in her backyard area, and there was a policeman in Atlanta that told her to go home. And this is real, everyone. This is real. And so let's say like you're overwhelmed, mats, balls, bands. What do I do? Let's say you've just like, what's one thing anyone can start doing today? Like immediately, how about the first thing you do when you wake up to get the motor running? What are some simple things that someone could do?
Well, because I, with the biomechanic background, always err on efficiency and safe first versus dumb exercises. And I'm going to be just blunt about it because there are just stupid exercises people do that hurt your joints. Like you don't know that until you're injured. You think, oh, I'm just going to do any movement exercise. I'm going to do dips. Dips are horrible for your shoulder joint. All right. So that is definitely something that walking lunges are terrible for your knees. There are ways to do tricep exercises and exercises for your quads, a stationary lunge instead of a walking lunge, because the form is important for the tracking of your knee over both of your major leg bones. And if you take that tracking out, you're going to end up wearing down the tissue around there as well as agitating the cartilage and your ligaments. And then you're going to have knee pain and think, well, I can't do that. Right. You can't do that, but you can do other things. So if it's, on the site on jjflizanes.tv, I actually did do like cardio at home. So there's a couple different videos about how to take a step or other things from shadow boxing and shadow kickboxing to using your stairs, to using a step, to using a jump rope, to doing jumping jacks, right? To dancing. I mean, really the easiest thing cardio wise is dancing. But before you get out of bed, I would actually ask you to engage your brain with your body and start to just gently activate some of these muscles before you get out of bed. So if you have a stiff back, bend your knees and do some pelvic tilts. If you step out of bed and sometimes your feet kind of are swollen or they hurt, do some ankle rotations. So do some flexion and extension and ankle rotations before you get out of bed. If you feel stiff in your spine, get out of bed, go straight to the floor on hands and knees and do a cat stretch and activate both sides of the spine, get those juices flowing, get that neurological connection and get all that moving so that when you stand up and do something harder, your body's not in shock. And I think it's actually a really great idea also just to, again, connect ourselves into a different way that relaxes our bodies, relaxes our minds. And then that way you can receive and activate the right muscle tissues in these exercises instead of being in fight or flight, which we all are right now. So everyone's really tense. I would not recommend going from tense to doing something really intense exercise. First, we have to calm the body down so that we actually can incorporate everything that you have in you to utilize muscle fibers and everything we need for that exercise versus we're going to just be if we're just in shock, you're probably going to get injured.
I'm writing some notes here. You folks need to be writing notes. And one thing I wrote is a couple things about the calendar, about the appointment. I actually started doing that. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of being, when I was getting my doctorate and being a father and being a husband and trying to be a good person, I forgoed regular exercise for quite a while. I just didn't go to the gym. I didn't do cardio. Yeah, I was active with my kids and I never really gained weight because I eat really, really well. But it wasn't until I put it in my calendar that I actually made it happen. So that is so important. And also I can envision so many people beginning the day, hunched over, groggy, barely able to get a cup of coffee, and then they drink the coffee and then they sit down. It's like your whole biomechanics, your posture is just leading you to depression, leading you to lethargy, leading you to just, So I love that. Just immediately get up and go. These are the get up and go. I'm going to write that. These are get up and go strategies with JJ. And folks, you know what? Do you have any thoughts? Because again, we're talking about business. We're talking about online. We're talking about how you're thriving, because this is one thing I love about you. You're not surviving right now. We're all going through this together. You are thriving in this chaos. We got to talk about that. But there's a lot we can uncover about mindset. There's a lot we can uncover about things that you're helping your people do because you have mind shares and masterminds and things. So I just kind of want you just to share in your heart because people just need a little bit of boost at this moment right now.
So I teach law of attraction. And so whether you believe it or not, I mean, it is a law and it is physics, but let's just, however you need to put it into context to make sense for you. I'll mention some ideas and phrases and mantras, if you will, just so that way you can understand the science behind it and know where it's coming from. So there are two words I want you to remember when it comes to law of attraction that will help you right now discern whether or not you are helping yourself or hurting yourself. Okay. because no matter what is going on in the world, you always have choice about how to react to something, how to interpret it, how to or not to act or react about it. So momentum is the first word. And momentum, there's always a momentum going on. And the question for you is, are you part of a negative momentum or are you creating a positive momentum? And if you give your power away to the news, to the media, to other people, it's very easy at this time and space for our energy fields to obviously be influenced by everyone else's victim mentality. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but feeling disempowered. People are afraid for many different reasons. And that's fine. Fear is a natural, it's indication, it's information for us. And that's something to process. That's something to express. Definitely do not want you to pretend it's not there if it's there for you. And there are definitely ways I'm teaching people between EFT and meditation and clearing your energy fields, right? But then there's also the idea that once you acknowledge and once you can sit in the idea that I'm afraid, law of attraction and contrast, any contrast in your life is really illuminating clarity for you. It's like when in an emotional setting, if you're triggered by something, the trigger's not outside of you. It's not that other person's fault you feel that way. There's a wound inside of you that hasn't been healed yet. So it's always a mirror as to what's going on with me. What do I need to heal? So I'd ask you in this time and space to say, what am I afraid of? And what is this calling me to learn how to do differently so that I'm never in this position again? I'm not afraid. I was standing in Italy 2 weeks ago, not afraid, never afraid, not afraid of getting sick, not afraid of having any airplane delays or issues, nothing. And I'm still living proof that I'm like walking on water because I literally am in the frequency of this is my reality. I'm not clicking into, I acknowledge. And a couple of times my mother and Doug's mother, got worried and I did allow myself to sort of take that in a little bit. So then I did some EFT, I did some tapping on that. And I kind of acknowledged it because you don't want to shun people or shame people for what they're going through. But at the same time, your worry doesn't help anybody. It actually hurts you. And I'm sure you've talked about how worry and fear decreases your immune system. Oh, yeah. Worry and fear decreases your digestion, which is where your immune system is built up, right? 80% of our immunity comes from digestion. So if all of a sudden the way that you're focusing, the way you're talking to yourself creates more dis-ease and discomfort, you're actually hurting yourself. So I'm always fond of, you have to actually process whatever emotion is coming up for you, but look at it as a indicator for clarity. What do I need to focus on? So in law of attraction, we call it pivoting. So we acknowledge that there's an issue, all right? We're afraid that maybe I don't know how to make money in this new world that we're living in today. Maybe I feel insecure about my own health and my own susceptibility to being ill. And that's a real thing. But focusing on that only makes it worse. Once you get that information, you pivot and you go, okay, instead of looking in the direction of what I don't want and fearing about it and fretting about it and getting yourself sick about it, go, what do I want? Pivot to the other direction and say, what can I do about it? The reason why I had no fear standing in Italy, the reason why we still went on the trip in general was because I'm so secure, because I've been proactive. I'm all about being proactive in your life. I do 5-day fasting mimicking diets on a regular basis to strengthen my immunity. Do I get sick? I don't, but I don't want to get sick. So whether or not you've done this or not, you're now in the place, you stand in a place of opportunity to ask yourself, what do I do moving forward? Not just how I survive, but how do I thrive? And for a lot of people, they have resistance to change. And the only time we change is when we are forced to. So if you're in a situation where you kind of in the back of your mind, your intuition's going to tell you, you've had ideas about how to do something differently, but you haven't been ready for it. You really want to take better care of your health, but you haven't made time for it. Well, folks, now's the time to say, what's my opportunity for growth and how do I thrive now and in the future? How do I survive it first, if that's where you are? But then how do I thrive going forward?
A couple things to unwrap there. One is don't beat yourself up if you're struggling. I think it's really important. And that's what you're saying. If you're surviving right now, acknowledge it, recognize it, but make the determined choice today, this moment, to pivot. Don't beat yourself up. Don't think of all the lost or the waste or anything else. Today's a new day and you can reshape. Essentially what you're saying is we do not live in denial, but we are shaping our reality with our thoughts, and we're creating positive momentum. And you just gave us wonderful pivoting strategies, because we're not a victim of our circumstances. And so I think we really need to, I think everyone listening and watching just needs to let that digest let that sink into your spirit. Real quick, put you on the spot, or I can put myself on the spot because I have some aromatherapy inhalers. I could show what people I do. You're listening right now and you're overwhelmed, right? You're absolutely freaked out. What do you do? How do you pivot? Like right now, what are you doing if you get the feeling of overwhelm? What's your practical strategy? I'll give mine. What are you doing?
Well, definitely. After our conversation yesterday, the essential oils is always around me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually physical movement and clearing. So our energy fields are about as wide as our arms are in a diameter all the way around our bodies. And so if you can imagine yourself literally cleansing your energy field, like opening it up and cleansing your energy field of other people's stuff, pushing it away, cleansing anything going on with you, you're just moving the energy around. That physical motion will also, another word I didn't get to mention because I got off on a little bit of a tangent, is epigenetics, which I'm sure you know about and talked about. Epigenetics is the gene expression. So we have been programmed in certain ways that allow ourselves to be aware of and to manifest and attract and to experience certain things in certain ways. Yep. So we have to do things differently in order for us to create a new awareness and a new experience. So things like cleansing your energy field, using the essential oils, tapping, EFT, very easy. Acknowledging the fear, going straight through whatever's coming up for you and tapping on and acknowledging and reprogramming and desensitizing and taking away that, diffusing that thought that creates that neurological craziness, and actually just hit it dead on with some tapping, which is going to calm the nervous system down and create new neural pathways.
Just a quick disclaimer here. I know we have people from all walks of life listening right now, and you mentioned some trigger words that, quite frankly, because of just not understanding, I want to be very careful with the word ignorance, but because some people are just ignorant of science, the Christian community has a reflex defensive response when you start talking about energy fields. It's like, oh, it's new agey and stuff. Y'all, I love Jesus. I'm a Christian. What JJ's saying is spot on. And let me just give you a quick quote from nature.com, like the actual like peer-reviewed literature speaking on behalf of bioenergetics. Like what she's talking about is bioenergetics, which is let me read it, which is the branch of biochemistry that focuses on how cells transform energy, often by producing, storing, or consuming adenosine triphosphate, ATP, and bioenergetic processes such as cellular respiration, photosynthesis are essential to most aspects of life. And then you start looking at the studies that are being done. They start what's being evaluated literally in the last month are quote unquote a mathematical model for vibration behavior analysis of DNA, resonant frequency of your DNA. This ain't no joke. This is real. And so when JJ's talking about the energy field, like there is, like this can be measured. And so there is a lot to say. And if you're leery of meditation, if you're leery of certain things, that's where I go into prayer. And that's why I want to encourage you. Like the Bible says, meditate, be still and know that I'm God. I mean, these words, this mindset, mind over matter mentality has been taught to us all the way from the Old Testament to today. So just a quick disclaimer, because you're speaking truth. You're brilliant, JJ, and you're very much scientific and you're very much intuitive, and it all wraps into who you are. And here you are. And it's kind of frustrating for some people to listen to you thinking like, this lady's on crack, or what is she on? Like, doesn't she realize the world's sinking? No, she doesn't, because her world isn't sinking. And that's exactly why I wanted her on this show, because when all hell's breaking around JJ, around me, around everyone else, we're like, that's not going to define my reality.
Thank you for that. I was pulling up Mind to Matter from Dawson Church, which is literally the scientific proof of everything I'm talking about. Like I said, I start off by saying law of attraction, however you have to say it, God, source, energy, universe, creator, whatever you want to say. But it is all very scientific. And I am the sort of balance of the left and right brain, the spiritual, the intuitive, and the scientific, because they're all valid and one supports the other. And again, take what is good for you and what's not, right? Sometimes you're just not ready to hear certain things, and that's okay. I'm not trying to shame anybody into anything, but let's just be practical for a second. If you want to jump in the train and say, the world is falling apart, what do you do? That's fine. You can jump in that. Let me ask you, when you're in fight or flight, do you recognize that you're not in problem solving mode. You're just in problem focus mode. So if you want to solve the problem, if you want to feel better, if you want a solution, if you want to leverage this energy right now and transmute it, alchemize it into something powerful and good, then you have that choice. But if you don't want to do that, you have that choice also. You are welcome to watch the news 24/7 and get yourself into such a panic that you're probably going to get sick, and that is your right. And no one is right or wrong. You do what is right for you. You follow the guidance that you have. I'm just offering solutions for those who are looking for solutions, who want to feel better, who want to feel hopeful, and who recognize what's going on without having to lose themselves in it.
I love that. And what we're seeing is people not only panicking with their health, but with their business. And so transition toward the latter half of this chat. Thanks so much again for doing this. You're so sweet. I love talking to you. You know, we're talking to people right now who are forced to work from home, who may very well have just lost their job. Many millions have or will very soon. You know, living on whatever government subsidies we have. I'm thinking of people. Man, I'm thinking of the baker. I'm thinking of the car salesman. I'm thinking of the personal trainer. Doors are shut. So what sort of things, you know, maybe in the vein of mindset, and then we can kind of go more practical, but how do you process that when you don't have any online presence and now you're stuck at home and you don't have an income stream as of today? What are your thoughts?
So I would first start with, you know, I work with a certain company. I train several of their CEOs and people that are in their business, and they have, because of the airline issues that have been going on, this is before the virus, had to let go of people because 30% of their income went away overnight because of the issues with the airplanes and the FAA shutting down Boeing. And, you know, that is out of everyone's control. There is absolutely nothing you can do about that. And what I keep seeing over and over again, you know, the unfortunate part is the employee wants to get mad at the employer in that situation. The employer, or if you recognize it's no one else's fault, I'm looking at now, isn't this a good time for us to try to empower people to understand that the reality of it is if you work for someone, and that's totally fine. If you work for someone else because you choose to, you love it, you love what you do, recognize that you only ask for money and you only ever get money from people, other people. And currently you only get it from one person. And there's 6 million, 7 million, how many millions, billions of people on the planet? A lot of people on the planet, and you're only asking money from one person. So keep that in mind in terms of the opportunity that's out there for you. And I know you probably have never thought about it. You don't know what to do, but you have a set of skills that you're paid for with your job, and maybe even skills you're not getting paid for, things you're good at that you do on the side just for fun, things that you're good at in your family life, or maybe you're the coach of the group. Maybe you're the person who helps people along the way. There are skills that you each have. We all have gifts that we can utilize in different ways. And so if you're the car salesman, you know, I saw somebody, Doug and I did a Facebook Live yesterday about podcasting and making money from home and in your pajamas, and how now is a great time to launch a podcast for anybody who's thinking about it. And one of the ladies said that her cleaning lady didn't want to come over, so she was counseling her through the phone or through Zoom on how to do things. And I thought that's brilliant.
Wow.
Right? So if you're a car salesman, you have education that people want. How to pick out your next best car, when it needs to be serviced, how to look for this and that. Whatever the information is that you have in your mind that you deliver to someone without explaining it, now's the time to take that information and make it into an information product. Start coaching, start training, start teaching people. You can do Facebook Lives and teach people how to look at things on their car or what to look for. You can do a demo. And I'd say that for anyone. The baker, one of my favorite bakers locally, gluten-free bakery, they're still baking and they're delivering and they're sending and they're doing things to go, as is most restaurants that are still open. The personal trainer, hello, I've been doing this since 2009. You have a lot of opportunity within coaching and training. You don't even have to start with video. My first client came out of a magazine because I had a client of mine that I did it before and after. He was in a magazine. Somebody in Florida had seen it. She called me and said, I've had 2 personal trainers. Can you help me? And at the time I was like, well, I can try. And we did phone coaching. And just in the phone coaching, awesome. she broke a plateau that she had hit because no one was using a heart rate monitor with her. No one was tracking her intensity level. Nobody was right. So that was effective. So you don't even have to do video. You can do phone. But you can find pieces of information, again, that you do in person. How do I translate this to an online platform? How do I translate this to a phone call instead of an in-person? Because trust me, I don't care what business you do, you have gifts and talents and information that other people want. It's just figuring out the best way to deliver it, how much to charge for it, how to put it out there. And again, with social media and everyone online now, because everyone's home, you're going to have a very captive audience of people to find people who need X, Y, and Z that you can help them with.
It's the early adopters that are really doing well right now with this. And, here's the thing. This is conscious capital. I mean, we're not talking about profiteering off of people's demise. I mean, we're in this together. We are now embarking on a very new normal, and we don't know what this new normal is going to look like. To think that we're going to get out of this recent outbreak and everything's going to go back to what it was a year ago, I don't think that's even in the realm of reality. This is reshaping how we think, how we live, how we communicate, and is bringing us online. So embrace this experience. And I would say dream, just like JJ sharing, who are you? Maybe even ask, practically speaking, some of the closest people in your life and say, what do you think are my gifts? Because maybe you don't even know. Ask people like, what do you think I could do right now? Just get some good advice and create a group maybe online, Facebook. And I love Zoom. I love Skype. I love these free avenues where we can communicate with people, FaceTime. I mean, it's everywhere, whatever app or device you use. It's so easy. You can get money on Venmo, PayPal. You don't even have to worry about, bank transfers and stuff. I mean, just think. And if you have any concern, what do I charge? What do consultants charge for baking or .com, whatever everything's on Google or whatever search engine you use. So just know that I think, and I believe that the people that really take this seriously and that don't waste their time binge watching Netflix for the next few weeks or a month or so, they're going to rise out of this better, stronger, more equipped. At the very least, know that you could do it. You are stronger than you think.
And I'd like to add that if you have resistance to this because you have a lot of fear, that's okay. Maybe instead of thinking about recreating an entire business online and never going back to work again, why don't you think of just a side business, a side hustle, another form of revenue and a stream of income that you didn't have before? And then if you go back to work and things do resume to be more normal for you, now you have a second business. Now you have another stream of income. And guess what? You're not going to feel that same panic, that same victim mentality, you're not going to be in that position where the vulnerability of someone doing this to you again, because you have the power to create. And now you can trust yourself at a whole new level. So if it's not full time for you and that makes you feel like, oh, I don't think I can do that full time, no problem. Do it part time. Just start.
Yep. And I can already hear it. Well, I'm not a designer. I don't know about web development. Me neither. Go to upwork.com. You can hire people for pennies on the dollar right now, all around the globe. And we're not taking advantage of people. People are giving away their services because they're hungry for work. And you could get wonderful websites and payment systems set up and all these fun little things that we do. It's not hard. And hey, let's talk a little about bartering. I'm seeing more and more bartering. Like you have skills, maybe a friend of yours, a graphic designer, like, hey, I'll help you with this. You help me with this. We need to go back to how we used to live before you just did one thing and you outsourced everything. There's a lot of things right now that we could do. And maybe you're good at gardening. How many people would love to plant their own garden? You're stuck at home. What are you going to do? Plant a garden, right? How fun will that be? So again, consider trading your skills, bartering your skills, and not in a way where you feel yucky. Just know that you are worth it. You need to value your time and your energy and put a dollar amount to your skill set. And you know what? You'll sleep better at night because you'll be providing for your family.
Absolutely.
I love it. We're wrapping up. I love this. I want to get you on really quick. Every time we talk, I just feel better. I just do. I just feel stronger. I feel knowing that there are people like you that exist, just jazzes me up. It's infectious. Your power, your strength, your empowerment. It's just giving out to people. A couple tips, words of hope, empowerment strategies. I don't know, whatever's on your heart. Just flow. Preach it, girl. What do you got? Hallelujah.
What do I got? So whatever spoke to you today, whatever belief system, I think you have a Christian-based community. So whether you think of it as God or Jesus or again, source energy creator, you have intuition and you have a connection to divine in some way, shape or form. And let that be the bigger influencer right now for you.
Yep.
And find a way to disconnect from the noise. Again, remember momentum. recognize that the world is at a particular momentum. It's quite negative. And if you hop on board it, you get swept up into it. And sometimes it feels like you can't get out of it. So as much as you can, earth yourself. If you can go just outside to a porch that you have, through either the concrete, the sand, the water, the grass, whatever, find a way to earth. Also find a way to disconnect. While we are going to be online, try to only go to the places. Like I have several groups, and I've invited all my groups to come to one group as a safe space to share funny things, a safe space to leverage this contrast, a safe space to appreciate what we can every day about what we do have and what we lose sight of, because again, this momentum of fear and scarcity is having you forget what you do have. Like if you have your health right now, if you have a bank account that has money in it, if you have healthy children and a spouse and a good relationship and things are paid off, you have a lot to be thankful for. And even if you don't, you still have things to be thankful for. So if we could at least try to balance out the energy by spending the time on what we focus on. Now, if you're dealing with some tragedies or with things that are going on, that's understandable. Just take a note as to how much time you spend in that and try to do a little on the opposite side of it. Appreciate something. I don't want you to Netflix binge too much either, but watch a funny movie. Disconnect for a while. Get into a new world. Visualize if you can put yourself in the right space. Visualize what the best outcome for you could be. If you could wave a magic wand and have this work out for your best and brightest future for everyone concerned, what would that look like? And allow yourself to dream into a new level, because regardless of what's going on in the world, again, your decision to talk about it, think about it, embody it, ultimately affects you. And there's nothing wrong with detaching a little bit to help your body stay sane and healthy and strong. And you then become a positive force in the world when you're not on the momentum train that keeps everybody in fear. So if you can be that beacon of hope and love and energy and light and solution, then you're also helping everyone who's around you. You're helping the entire planet. So I would say try to disconnect as much as you can. Only go to the places that you know fill you up. And if you have to be in the other area, balance it out with something else that's going to take you away from and is the opposite feeling and experience for you.
I love that, everyone. Be a light. Be a light. Get hooked up with JJ, share her work with your friends and family. Just dive into it. I mean, just dive into it for a couple hours this week. And take her up on jjflizanes.com/biz coaching, BIZ coaching. And again, go to coronavirussupportseries.com to get the transcript for this and the notes and the link back to her website and all that good stuff. Folks, we love you. We're going to get through this. I feel more jazzed up and empowered. I just feel like I just drank like a pot of coffee in a good way. We can do this, and please join this mission. Share this with a friend or loved one. Get yourself right so we could help others. This is first responder mode. I love you. I appreciate you. And as always, Dr. Eric ZIELINSKI, my hope and prayers that you and your family truly experience the abundant life. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.